Normal life is boring. Unless we feel excitement and thrill, unless we stretch our mind and body, we are not alive. Yes, friends, these are the words of our next speaker for today, Mr. Peter Van Geit. Mr. Peter is a project manager with Cisco Systems India, an explorer by nature. He has covered more than 50,000 kilometers across India on his bullet and has conquered the Himalaya thrice. Founder of the Chennai Trekking Club, a volunteer-based club of trekking enthusiasts, an expert in map reading, navigation, and GPS, he has taken thousands of trekkers to many unexplored locations. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Peter Van Geit.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Can we get up the presentation, maybe? How many people in the room have heard about the Chennai Trekkers Club? Yeah, I see quite a few hands, so that will make it a bit easier for me. So, how many people in the room have been on like a trek to someplace before? Okay, I already see some more hands, so I guess there will be sufficient interest in the topic. So, I'm going to reuse one of the presentations which was made a couple of months ago for another event, TEDx in IIT Madras. I didn't have much time. Yeah. Test. So I didn't have much time to kind of modify the presentation, so I'll just run through it and kind of customize it a bit for the public here. It's nice to see so many a lot of young people in the room. It's always nice to speak to the young generation. So I'll just give a little bit of background on myself, just to introduce. So my name is Peter. I come from a place, Belgium, so in Western Europe, 38 years old, or young. And so I came to India like 12 years ago, April '98, basically for my company. Company was not able to find software talent in Europe, so we basically went to Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai, recruited around 40 people, set up a software unit in Chennai, and I was here actually on a one-year contract, so I was just planning to stay 1 year, kind of technically guide the team and then go back. But that kind of got extended to a second year, again extended, and before I knew, actually, I kind of settled down in Chennai. After a couple of company takeovers, currently I'm part of Cisco. I'm working there as a project manager in Tidal Park. So I've always been kind of a bit of an outdoor-minded person, adventurous, kind of sports-minded person. So after I was here in Chennai for a couple of months, I kind of, had seen the city. Somebody had been driving me, used to have a company car, a driver used to drive me around in some white Sumo. So it didn't take too long for me to kick out the driver, to take the wheel myself, go around in Chennai. And then very soon I kind of wanted to kind of start exploring beyond the city limits. So kind of I got myself one of these Enfield Bullets. And after, you're in India. I mean, India is like a big unknown thing for me. Coming from a small place in Belgium, have never traveled much except for a couple of places in Europe. So initially, I went to Mahabalipuram, got some confidence, went a little bit further on the bike. So this is 12 years ago. It's not like, the ECR was still a very small road. You had some bullet cars passing there, maybe an ambassador or two. So then we went to Pondicherry, a little further. Again, we went to then a bit further towards, what is it there, Erkat near Salem. So after that, kind of I started exploring almost every weekend on my bike, put a bike on the train, overnight train, say to Kerala, Kottayam, get off on Saturday morning, start biking in the Western Ghats for 2 days, come back again through Coimbatore on Sunday night and back in Chennai. So like that I kind of explored lots of places in South India. I went to the Himalayas thrice on my bike through this Leh, Kardungla, one of these highest motorable passes in the world. So did a lot of exploration, and it was very nice to see so much beautiful nature, different landscapes, tropical beaches, Himalayas, Western Ghats out there. It was really fantastic. So then a couple of years later, we had a couple of enthusiasts in my company in Cisco, like 10, 15 people who were kind of interested to explore some places on foot. So we started trekking. We went to Jinji Fort. We went to the Tada waterfalls that many of you might be familiar with. And after we kind of had finished like 10 different places across, South India and the 4 different states, we kind of thought like, hey, there's so many beautiful places out there to explore. So I kind of ran out of colleagues to kind of join me for exploring more places, right? You always want to go in a group which is more fun. So within the company, people kind of ran out of trekking buddies. So I set up a website in February 2008. So put some beautiful pictures there, made some experiences of the people who had gone along with me had been published. And then, so once we put up this website, then through Google actually things started moving very quickly. Had put a big link there, so anyone interested to join, please register here. So before we knew it, like every single day, 5 to 10 new people kind of joined this online trekking community. We called it the Chennai Trekking Club. In Chennai, I don't think there was too much other trekking activity happening at that time. And I think, it worked very well for a couple of reasons. So first of all, right, just like myself, I want to do stuff in the weekend. I don't want to sit in a room. You kind of work in an IT company. You spend a lot of time before a screen, so you really want to get out in the weekend, refresh your mind and body. So if you look at Chennai, there's not that many outdoor possibilities. You can go to Marina Beach, you can drive 50 times on your bike to Mahabs, and then kind of you have, it's done. So I started looking again for places kind of not too far away from Chennai, because you only have 2 days, you can travel too far. So we started looking at the Eastern Ghats and found quite a few beautiful places nearby, like Nagalapuram, the Venkateswara National Reserve Forest, which is the Tirumala Hills, just like 2-3 hours only away from Chennai, where you have some really awesome places that you will see. So I think that's happened with many people out there. We have a lot of members from the IT community who really want to get out in the weekends, go to some beautiful natural places, breathe some fresh air, jump in a beautiful crystal clear water stream, and kind of come back refreshed to the office on Monday. So one thing, right, so Chennai, not much to do. Second thing is that as far as I know, there are not too many outdoor kind of groups in Chennai. So that's why I think people typically go to Google and kind of eventually end up finding the Chennai Trekking Club. One nice thing is that we kind of go out almost every weekend, so we are like a very active group, 52 weekends in a year, 52 out of these 52 weekends, almost 45 to 50 weekends, we'll be organizing different treks to different places. So one nice thing about Chennai Trekkers is that over the years, so it's not like a very old group. We just started, like you can say, February 2008, so our 3rd birthday is only coming up. We have now close to almost 10,000 people in this community. So every month I think we have around 500 to 600 new members joining, mostly through Google as well as through word of mouth. People joining us who then talk to friends and colleagues to kind of, they are very enthusiastic about their experience, so they also ask them to join. So one thing why the whole thing still kind of runs at a very high pace is the fact that we have become pretty good over these 3 years with kind of map reading, we use this GPS systems, satellite guided global positioning system, compass. We have some good sources of online maps out there basically, which allow us to actually explore anywhere. So we don't follow normally existing trails. We don't go to the Tada waterfalls. We don't go to Jinji where everyone else goes. No, we just take a map on Wednesday, Google map, Topo map. We have like these old US Army maps, Russian Army maps, which have fully mapped India topography. We start looking at the topography of the terrain. We kind of plan a starting point, start following a stream, get into the hills, and kind of explore totally new places. So the whole of South India actually has so many beautiful jungles, forests, and mountain ranges, which allow you to kind of explore non-stop. So that's why we kind of remain very active. So here you can see some pictures. So we use like ham radios to communicate, GPS systems, compasses. And we have the typical cooking gear along with us, right? Because we stay overnight in the jungle. Last week I came back from a 7-day survival trek where we kind of spent 7 days continuously in the forest, 6 nights. Carrying all the food with us, no contact with the outside world. So you really learn to survive by your own means. And then of course online I'll show you a couple of kind of sources where we kind of get maps from to kind of start mapping and exploring new places. In addition to trekking, we have also kind of started, diversifying. So it's not just about trekking, it's about kind of basically getting out of Chennai and doing something, active, being active and getting some fresh air in your lungs in the weekend. So we have started with all kinds of diversified outdoor activities. We are organizing ladies' treks once in a while. We finished one 2 weeks ago. We got these social treks where we'll be taking out orphans from one of the orphanages nearby Chennai on a one-day picnic. And then we also kind of sometimes try to adhere to the senior community where we'll be taking out so seniors, people above 30, 40 years with us on a kind of more easy kind of excursion. In addition to that, we do biking. We have done lots of bike trips, 2-day, 3-day, 4-day bike trips all over typically the Western Ghats. Going to north requires a little bit of more leave typically. Biking, rafting, SUV treks, we have done a lot of stuff. One important thing I think that allowed us to grow this big is the fact is Google actually. Google has helped us in several ways. First of all, Google has helped people to find us obviously. If you search on Google anything related to Chennai Outdoors, Chennai Trekking, Chennai Adventure, I think the first 20 links will come to Chennai Trekkers. At the other side also, we are kind of a volunteering, a non-profit based group, so we don't have any financial resources in this community. So we use a lot of infrastructure, freely available tools for Google to manage this huge community of nearly 10,000 members. Take out like 400 or 500 people every month on treks to the jungle. Sometimes we organize very large campaigns. Like this Sunday we have like a coastal cleanup. 700 people are participating from Chennai Trekkers as well as various big IT companies. We are planning to clean up the entire Chennai coastline all the way from Marina Beach till Injambakan, which is huge, actually 15 kilometers. So a lot of coordination involved where we actually make use of a lot of freely available online tools from Google, like Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Maps and all that stuff, which really allows our group to kind of function without, spending a lot of financial resources on infrastructure. Yeah, so why the whole thing, keeps running is, I guess it's all about people. A lot of people meet in our group. Typically, if you look at the weekend, if you, I guess, I'm not too sure how many people wake up on 3 or 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, but if you do, you go to Chennai, you'll see various points in the city where trekkers start assembling on a Saturday early morning. Many of those people will be like 70 to 80% in a weekend typically of the people who join us, like say a 30, 40 member trekking expedition will be new. People don't know each other, they are like a bunch of strangers. So they go 2 days in the jungle, they survive by their own means. We don't like follow trails, we set up our own camp, we cook everything by ourselves. We meet a lot of obstacles at some places, right? We explore new trails, so suddenly we'll be walking along a stream. Might be a 200-meter drop waterfall where we are stuck and we kind of have to start circumventing these natural obstacles like as a team, because the whole team needs to kind of cross over some deep stream, get through some dense bushes. So if then that same group of strangers, mostly strangers, comes back on Sunday night, sometimes we will get lost somewhere and come back in Chennai on Monday morning. So then you see that there is a lot of bonding happening. Those people who, don't know each other on Saturday morning, they become like very, sometimes friends for life. There is a lot of kind of people bonding happening by taking out like a group, right, like a team of people and getting them through some sometimes very challenging conditions in like a total different environment. People are used to staying in a city with all the facilities. If you take all that away, all that civilization away, you put them in a raw jungle where there is nothing, people have to survive by their own means. You kind of see sometimes the best and the worst coming out of people. So what makes CTC special? Just a couple of highlights what makes our group a little bit different than some of the other groups out there. So one thing is that it's kind of, membership based. So what does it mean basically? If you go to our website, ChennaiTrekkers.org, you'll find a sign up thing there where you just enter your email ID. And after that, you kind of, it's all free. After that, basically, you become part of this family. you kind of start receiving like 3-4 emails every day, where you will be getting photos, you will be receiving experiences, trek updates, upcoming treks. So you get in the loop, in the communication loop of what all is happening in the group. So everyone shares their photos, their videos. And very quickly, even though you don't join a trek immediately, you will kind of know what's all happening in the group. So you actually become part of that community. I think out of these 10,000 people, there would be at least 3,000 people who have never joined us, but who know us very well because they know what's happening in the group. So they're basically in that email communication threads, and they're kind of feeling part of the whole thing, even though they might not be joining frequently. Another thing is that, I mean, we don't have any entrance criteria. Anyone is free to join us. No age limits, fitness limits or anything. So we have a lot of, I mean, diverse individuals in the group. So it's freely accessible to anyone. It's non-profit. So this is something very important, that we really want to, I mean, do it for the passion of it. We really want to do it for the adventures, for the, some people come for the passion of trekking. Some people come for the passion of photography. So we really want to keep it strictly separated from any commercial influence. That's very important, that it should not be like anyone is making money out of this. So the people who organize the treks are volunteers. The people who come along with us are like individuals who just kind of at the end of the weekend share the cost of the transportation and the food. Typically, these are the two main expenses. So that with 400-500 rupees, we can have an adventure, a 2-day adventure, kind of even cheaper than going to a movie and dinner in the city. Another thing is that, I mean, it's not like that CTC, Chennai Trekkers, I mean, organizes everything, and that the 30-40 people who join us along with the trek kind of are the guests, so that we serve them, that they expect everything from us. It's not like that 30-40 people come together and everyone is actually expected to volunteer to contribute to the whole thing. So we'll have people calling up, making confirmation calls. We'll have people running to the supermarket, buying big carts full of food for 30-40 people to survive for 2-3 days. We'll have people helping out with setting up campfires, people helping out setting up campsites. There will be some good swimmers in the group which will help ferrying backpacks over deep streams. So it's a lot of kind of, everyone contributes, kind of field parts. I mean, we motivate people by requesting them to really actively participate in these events rather than supplier-consumer kind of typical relationship that you would expect in other commercial kind of groups. So this gives you a little bit of an idea of, I mean, our main core activity, I mean, the trekking. Let me also highlight a little bit later on in I mean, in our history of our trekking group. So one thing which is very close to my heart is these social treks. Last Christmas we completed, like, I think it was our 24th social trek, where we basically, I think we have taken out around like hundreds of kids from several orphanages within the city and outside the city limits. So typically we take them, like, we go to say we have like 40 orphans, we have 50 volunteers, a couple of people will bring their cars. So Saturday early morning again, we go to the orphanage, we pick up the kids, distribute the kids amongst the volunteers in different cars, and then we transport them, for 2-3 hours to some kind of nice place where we have like a 5-kilometer easy trail. Spend the entire day with them, kind of having fun together in the water. We typically carry some tubes along for the safety. So we cook together with the kids, we play with them. And for them it's an awesome experience. The kids have an opportunity really to get out of the kind of boundaries of their orphanage. And at the same time for the volunteers also, it's a wonderful experience, more than going out for your own self-enjoyment. Spending really the entire day with these young energetic kids together really has a major impact on the people who are joining these social treks. There's a lot of enthusiasm and passion going on there. And it's really awesome. I mean, some of these kids, I mean, they are orphans, right? They don't have parents. Twice we have taken out some kids from SIP home, which are like HIV infected kids, kids who just have only a couple of years to live. If you see the happiness and the joy on the faces of these kids, really that hits you deeply. I mean, kids being so happy even though they are much less privileged than us. So this is some program that we run at least once every 3-4 weeks, kind of identifying, one of the members in the group will identify a new home somewhere around Chennai, and then we'll be picking up the kids and then giving them kind of a one-day experience to remember. The second kind of, important thing that we kind of started doing is this environmental awareness. So Chennai Trekkers is the group who kind of exposes a lot of people to beautiful natural places. So at the same time, when you get exposed to these, if you're within the city limits, everywhere you kind of see plastic, you will see pollution, you see garbage, you go to the beach. We surveyed the whole beach yesterday morning. It's like full of garbage basically. So if you come then with us, you come to places where nobody has ever come before. Sometimes we explore places, I think, which humans have never seen before. And you see this beautiful virgin nature, then you really start caring about that. You see how nature was in its original state without any human influence. Some places are beyond description, and again, some of the places you see here, like this is Tada waterfalls just over the border with Andhra. This is like just 1 hour drive from Chennai, which is almost unbelievable. So if you see then what happens after people try to make this a touristical place, you see plastic everywhere. Plastic, right, as we know, never degrades. So you basically kind of mutilate nature. So what we started somewhere in, I believe, November 2009 was our first kind of Save Tada mission, where we went out with, at that time I think it was around 150 people, and kind of spent the entire day kind of cleaning up a stream which was around 1 kilometer long and full of garbage. So we collected more than 2 tons of garbage in that single day. And that again, okay, you clean it up, you know that the next Sunday, again, there will be tourists coming there polluting the place. So it's not really about the cleaning. It's more about showing, right, that there are some people out there who care, get some kind of media coverage, typically, and then kind of try to spread a little bit of awareness in the general public that people try to hope that there will be some kind of mentality change where people will start thinking twice before they pollute. So we cleaned up Tada twice. We cleaned up the entire Chennai coastline once last May with there was like 900 volunteers from various companies as well as Chennai Trekkers, where we kind of again removed tons of garbage from the Chennai beach. We kind of got some coverage in Times of India. There's Metro Plus in the Hindu, which again allowed us to kind of spread this awareness with many people who didn't join. But out of these programs, this mega cleanup programs, we kind of also started doing regular beach cleanups. So we have this Beach Buster series. People who are familiar with CTC will know, where we have like Saturday evening, when there's a lot of crowd coming to the beach, we kind of will go out with 30 people to one of the popular beaches, Tirunelveli Beach, Besanagar, Elliot, kind of go there with these bright colored garbage bags and start cleaning the whole place in front of everyone basically. So then you can actually see when you start picking up garbage in front of people who kind of sometimes polluted just 1 minute before you, that something is happening. The people understand that, they feel a bit uncomfortable then seeing up, cleaning up. Sometimes even small children are joining garbage which they have just put on the beach. So those programs are wonderful. We see that out of these 30 volunteers then that simply it doubles. 30 other people from the public spontaneously join us and actually kind of participate, also help us in cleaning up the beach. So one other thing is this ladies trek. So being a little bit of a conservative community, especially Chennai here, for ladies it's sometimes not always easy to make a decision to go out with like 30, 40 strangers on a 1 or a 2 day trek in the middle of nowhere sometime. So we have these all ladies trek programs where basically exclusively ladies will go, on a trek, either 1 day or 2 days with overnight camping. And so there will be a couple of guys to support them in terms of navigation and photography and so. This again is an initiative basically to kind of make this more accessible to the female community out there. Another kind of initiative, I'm just taking you through some random initiatives which we have done in the past. So another nice thing we did in terms of spreading awareness was this Trek Polama. So this was last February 2010, our second birthday basically, where we kind of wanted again to expose this whole trekking thing to the people in Chennai basically. So we rented one big marriage hall in Ananagar somewhere along the 100 feet road, kind of tried to make a lot of advertising about this event. We give presentations, we give workshops on trekking, navigation, photography, first aids. We had a workshop on snakes, recognizing snakes, venomous, non-venomous snakes. So we try to expose a lot of people to basically trekking and nature-related topics. We had a very beautiful photo exhibition where we displayed 300 photos from our core photographers. We have some people in the group with like beautiful digital SLR equipment. Some people have really expensive gear with them, carry expensive gear with them in the jungle, and really capture those virgin places that we explore in a very beautiful way. So we showed some places there which I think have never been seen before by humankind. To probably around 1,000 people kind of attended this conference. This is the one that I was talking about. So last May we kind of did a mega cleanup of the entire Channel coastline. We assembled people in around 11 places across the city, so it's easy. You just go to one of these assembly points near the place where you stay. So there we have one of our organizers kind of picking up a group of 30, 40 people, kind of moving them to one of these 15 different beach zones, and then kind of doing a cleanup of 2-3 hours to again kind of spread awareness. So this is our group photo at Elliott Beach last May, where we had 900 people. A couple of people had already left here, kind of trying to make a difference. This Sunday again we're cleaning up the beach. If anyone is interested to join starting at 6 a.m. in the morning. So currently we have around 700 volunteers lined up. Companies from HP, Wipro, CSC, Ramco, Nokia are actually joining the whole cleanup operation. So this is quite easy. I mean, cleaning up a beach is not a big deal. We have garbage gloves, big bags, just scooping up the plastic a little. This is much easier than like a safe Tara, where we really have to go sometimes deep into a jungle, climb over big boulders, find plastic bottles everywhere, and then kind of take out like 2 tons of garbage from deep inside the forest back to the point of disposal. One other thing which was quite nice is somewhere in September 2010 we were approached by Rotary International to kind of, for one specific, another social cause, which was this blood donation. So we had this Be Positive campaign where Rotary requested us to get like 100 bikers together, 100 bikers, 100 pillions, and we'll kind of go on like a 700-kilometer 2-day bike ride across Tamil Nadu. So we visit like 10 regional Rotary centers all over Tamil Nadu. We spend the night in Yelagiri Hills. You can see the mayor of Chennai on the left side there who flagged off the operation. And this was again a fantastic thing. Like just imagine 200 people in same colored t-shirts going through some smaller villages in Tamil Nadu and trying to spread awareness. I forgot to mention this is about awareness of blood donation. So basically it seems that within Tamil Nadu there's a 55% shortage of blood. So if one of your relatives or friends gets into an accident, that 55 out of 100 cases basically you're in big trouble because you're not able to find blood to save the victim. So this was quite a nice event. I mean, we had a lot of fun, typically CTC style, and kind of were able to spread a lot of awareness. The blood donation then, which happened a week later, had like quite a lot of success. So here, just a couple of statistics. I guess you guys are all MBAs, so this is a little bit outdated. So this was, I think, given in September sometime. So now we have like, I was mentioning, right, so now we have around close to 10,000 people. So we have grown again with 2,000 people in the last 3-4 months. The whole group is actually led by volunteering organizers. So it's not like we kind of have formal organizers in the group. So everyone is free to join us on the treks. Some people like it. They come with us for a couple of treks. They kind of take initiative, do active contribution. They kind of learn the whole thing about how to navigate, how to set up the campsites. And I've seen people, like sometimes people who are a little bit timid, who don't have much self-confidence, they join us on like 5-10 treks. And like 2-3 months later, those same timid people kind of become confident organizers themselves. They are able to kind of take 30 strangers along with them for 2 days and kind of guide them on sometimes very challenging, through very challenging trails basically. So there's a lot of, people development, confidence building happening within the group. So we finished around, I think now close to 280 treks over the last 3 years. So as I was telling, we go out every weekend. Some weekends we'll have 4 or 5 groups going out to different places. If I look at our website, we have around 500 people joining every single month. Again, mainly through Google as well as word of mouth. People who joined us on the previous weekend kind of are pretty excited about the whole thing, and then kind of talk to friends, colleagues, relatives to kind of also join. And then our website currently stands, I think, at 1.8 lakh hits. Okay, so the next few slides I'm going to skip. This talks a little about what's ahead. I think that's less relevant here. I think I'm going to open the floor to any questions you might have. Yeah.
This is not regarding trekking, but for biking.
Yeah.
Like after the first 100 or 150 kilometers, you start getting severe pain in back and shoulders. So how do you deal with 1,000 kilometers things?
You mean individually or from a CTC point of view?
Any person. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so the people who sign up for these bike trips typically are people who are, I mean, they are used to biking, sometimes within the city limits. Some of the people might have gone to Mohabs. But I mean, I've done a lot of bike trips. I mentioned, right, before this trekking I did, I mean, I was on my bullets most of the weekends. I finished around 50,000 kilometers all over the place. And I mean, I guess it depends on the individual, but I never had much kind of, okay, you'll have a sore butt obviously after 3 days driving for 900 kilometers. But again, it's not a big deal. I mean, you're with a group of people, like-minded people, you have a lot of fun out there. And the bikes typically are pretty good. We use a lot of bullets. Bullets are pretty comfortable, like going on long distances. So typically go in pillion formation. I don't know, I guess most of the people might have been quite fit with us, but no issues with kind of, I think it's also more like a mental thing. If you think you can do it, and if you're very enthusiastic and passionate about it, then some of these physical discomforts actually go away automatically, probably. Yeah. Any other questions? Or yeah, please.
Having gone to the Everest 3 times, what kind of preparation would someone who's not done too much trekking, what kind of preparation would you need to actually do, even at least the base camp for Everest?
Yeah, so I'm not too familiar with Everest or North India. I've gone once myself to Sikkim, to the Kanchenjunga on like a 10-day trek. But I think it's not about, say, like Everest or many people, I mean, think high about going to the Himalayas, but to be honest, I've seen many of those Himalayan trekkers kind of struggling in our local South Indian treks because typically Himalaya is a little bit touristical. You will be walking on trails there, you will have some yaks which carry your luggage, you will have these porters, people, you will be walking, a campsite will be waiting for you, the hot soup will be waiting for you. It's not like that in CTC. CTC, first of all, you will have to do everything. You'll have to carry your luggage for 7 days, 10 days. Just imagine 7 days means you're carrying 20 meals with you, 3 meals per day. We don't make any outside contact with we don't use porters or anything. You will be responsible for setting up your own campsite. One other thing with South India compared to North is challenging because once you go at higher altitude, right, air becomes thin, you'll be doing a couple of steps being out of breath. But don't underestimate these South Indian tropical jungles. Here you'll be walking in like a very tropical climate. You'll be climbing uphill with 8 kilograms of backpack on your back under a hot tropical sun, which really dehydrates people and makes it very tough. One more thing with CTC is that we don't walk on like flat trail, right? It's not like I walk along Marina Beach. We walk over boulders. Some of these boulders are like small, bigger, still bigger, so you'll have to climb over that. It's very, stressful for the feet and the ankle if you're not used to that. So, but to come to your question, what does it take to, what do you need to do to kind of be able to do this? 50% is physical, 50% is in the mind. I've seen, the mind is very important. Indeed, it becomes challenging on the second day, the third day. It requires a strong mindset to kind of keep going, even if things are looking a little bit tough. That hill looks high, that pool looks deep, I cannot swim. You need to kind of keep going, I mean, have a very strong mind power. On the physical side, I would say you need to be obviously fit. You should be able to kind of easily go for some jogging or walking, do some regular physical activity, doesn't matter what it is, volleyball, cricket in the college, or go to do some stamina in the fitness center. But whatever you do in the city, trekking will always be different because the terrain is very challenging. So you will have to kind of get used by kind of first joining an easy trek, then going to a moderate, then going to a difficult trek. Joining directly like a 10-day trek, carrying a lot of luggage with you that most people will fail, even people who are like half marathon runners on like an ECR. This is totally different. You're in very challenging terrain. But it's quite easy. I mean, we do like these social treks. So first join for a social trek. I mean, because if a kid who is just 6-year-old can do it, then I think everyone should be able to do it. One thing that I've actually seen on these social treks is that we take out kids between, sometimes some of the kids who are joining are just 3 years old, but mainly it's like 6 to 13 years old. Many times I've seen that the kids are actually far ahead of the volunteers. So the kids will first reach the stream, and then like 30 minutes, 1 hour later, kind of all the adults and even the young people will be following them. So it's quite fun. But it's good. I mean, whatever you do, I would say, especially I've seen also in Cisco, I've seen people who come out of college, they work for 2-3 years, sit behind that computer screen, they feel tired, they don't have the energy to get out then on Saturday or Sunday. It's a very dangerous thing once you start working. Keep a little bit of time aside to remain active. Otherwise, after a couple of 2-3 years, I've seen the fitness and health level of people going down drastically, especially people working behind a computer screen. So try to do something, trekking, whatever it is, any physical activity to kind of remain young and fit and healthy once you're out of college. I hope that answers your question a little bit. Any other doubts? Questions? Yeah, please. Yeah, that's a good question. So when you go out in the jungle, right, you're not in a city where you're like typically 1 kilometer, where you're a phone call away from 108 or 1 kilometer away from the next medical facility. So there's always, I mean, some kind of challenge involved there to, I mean, keep people safe. You go, I mean, there are 3 dangers in the jungle, I would say. You have wildlife, you have deep water, those beautiful water pools, they look very attractive, but sometimes non-swimmers get too excited and the bottom of the stream is not always even, so people suddenly slip down, get into deep water. So I've pulled out many people myself over the last few years. And then you have loose rocks. When climbing uphill, somebody will step on a rock, like even it can be a small rock, just 2 kilograms, but let this 2 kilograms rock start rolling for 10 meters, and then the amount of energy it builds up. I've been hit by rocks myself on the forehead and can be very nasty. So indeed, I mean, we carry some first aid kit with us to kind of do the kind of first aid stuff. Apart from that, I mean, tricky things would be like snake bites, for example. Snake bites, scorpion bites. Sometimes we have been encountering wasps in the jungle. So snake bites is a bit difficult. I mean, you have, again, I mean, we try to do these workshops where we give some awareness on what are the venomous snakes, non-venomous snakes. You keep distance with the venomous ones. A lot of snakes are there in the jungle. Typically, wildlife is not that aggressive. We have encountered black sloth bears, we have encountered elephants, we have encountered snakes. I've seen some wild pigs running away from us last week on the trek. Wildlife is not very aggressive. Typically, they're scared. They're all kind of, as soon as they see us coming, we're in a group, right? We're not as individuals. We're with 10, 20 people. So they're a little shy, so they will run away. But there have been instances where, like, unfortunately, right, you kind of corner, like, say, a snake, or you by accident step on a snake and that somebody gets bitten. Nothing fatal, actually. It only happened once out of maybe 10,000 or 15,000 people, which we would have taken out. So statistically, it's very less. So okay, in that case, that person's foot was very swollen, so I kind of had to take him on my shoulder, walk for 8 hours to the nearby village where they did some medication. Snakes is not easy in the sense that different snakes require different antivenoms. So they had to do some testing kind of to find out what snake it was, because it happened in the night, so we didn't get a clear view on what type What was the texture on the, typically you need to know the texture of the skin to understand the snake family. So finally we got him to Chennai. We called up one of our guys in Chennai who came up to pick up the person, put him in a hospital, and then they put the right antivenom, and okay, took some weeks for the swelling to go, but finally the person was fine. So no fatalities have happened so far. In general, I mean, okay, a lot of people have some ankle pain, have some, the thighs are tight, need this Volini spray and so, those small things. Nothing serious has happened so far. A couple of people have slipped down some rocks, got some bruises here and there. But I think overall, being in a peaceful jungle sometimes is sometimes much more safe than I think walking on mount roads. And I've seen more actually people in my office who drive two-wheelers who kind of say, oh, like at least in the last year, I think 8 to 10 people had some skid or some accident with their two-wheeler and were out for a couple of days or even weeks, which I haven't seen in people in the jungle, because there, if you're a little careful, you're pretty safe in general. Again, we mostly focus on the Eastern Ghats, where wildlife is much less compared to, say, the Western Ghats. Any other questions?
Last question, please.
Sir, how difficult or easy is it for you to maintain a balance between your work at Cisco? I assume it must be very hectic, and the passion that you have. And has the thought of taking up traveling or trekking full time ever crossed your mind?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Many people ask me that because it's indeed a very large group. I mean, it's very active. Almost every week we do something. It's not me. I mean, I have a strong organizing team that runs the whole group. But indeed, it takes quite a bit of time. I'm typically a person who will be awake till 2 a.m. in the night, kind of looking at maps, supporting our other organizers, kind of with logistics, sending invites to the group like this. Now we have this major coastal cleanup, 700 people, so you don't have any idea how many emails come in and how much logistics is involved to manage that large group of people actually. So it indeed is quite a challenge sometimes to balance the professional life. A project manager in Cisco is also quite busy there. So, but I mean, if you kind of try to set some schedule, right? So these are my working hours in Cisco. These are the core hours that I don't disturb, and then kind of try to finish your tracking related kind of emails, SMSs, phone calls, the whole organization, evening meetup meetings with the organizers, planning meetings. If you kind of do it in the morning, in the evening, again, I mean, get out of Cisco by 7 till 2 a.m. still gives you like 5 hours to do a lot, so that's not kind of a big deal. And again, Cisco is a 5-day working company, so all the weekends of the year are mostly free, especially except when we go for some interviews to Chennai or Bangalore. So it's difficult, I mean, because indeed you pick up a lot of extra luggage, but then again, that trekking is all about, I'm very passionate about that, right? So that's kind of, I mean, if you're passionate about anything, then any effort is not a big deal. And can you repeat that second question?
Do you ever thought of taking up traveling full time?
Yeah, so that's one problem there, right? Because one kind of fundamental value about the CETC is that it's non-profit, so nobody wants to make money out of it, so I'm very strict on that. I kind of get approached very frequently, at least 5-10 people, kind of sometimes very smart guys out there. They look at this huge group of 10,000 kind of people, and I mean the young crowds, people in our group, okay, have some dispensable income. So a lot of commercial entities out there actually are after us to sell their goods to our group or kind of try to kind of publicize something to the group. So I kind of want to keep it like this, volunteering based, it's very fundamental, it's open, and it's cost sharing, so nobody makes money out of this, because if you start kind of making it your own, a full-time thing, then you'll have to kind of get some revenue out of it, and then you're going to change the whole thing quite drastically. I mean, now it's kind of a bit like this Linux open source, right? It belongs to everyone, it belongs to the people, and nobody is kind of making money out of this. So I want to keep it exactly the same. And as long as I can balance anyway my Cisco work, it's not a problem. Okay, so I think that was the last question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter.
Yeah, my pleasure.
For many of the Great Lakers, including people like myself, will be quite excited to be part of CTC.
Yeah.
I would, on our behalf, please accept a memento.
Thank you. And so, yeah, I forgot to say, maybe my last request is, please do join us So always keep in mind, right, if like a 6-year-old orphan kid can do it, why can't you do it, please? I hear too many excuses. Yeah, if you have any questions, we have Sagar there. Sagar is one of our kind of all-time core members. He has been with me through some very tough situations in the jungle, so we are, you can approach him if you have any further questions on how to join us, what are the upcoming treks. Typically we have events coming up for the next 5-6 weeks, so I hope to see you, some of you, on one of the future treks.
Please.